Good day, everyone. Welcome to the world of English. So, last video, I read an example of feature article. Today, another sample of feature article. Feature writing for its part 6. Example of humorous feature when names matter by Fred De La Rosa. What's in a name? Asked William Shakespeare. That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. You're wrong, Mr. Shakespeare. Names matter. Ask Brazilian males who are named Braulio. Ask Social Welfare Secretary Lina Laigo. Ask Senator Boy Herrera. Ask people who answer to interesting names. Brazil's head ministry said last week it had dumped a name given to a talking penis used in an anti-AIDS campaign after angry protests from people with the same name. What's the talking penis name? Braulio. The coordinator of the National AIDS Program said that henceforth neutral terms such as partner, body, dito would be used for the noisy genitalia instead of a popular name, Braulio. Secretary Laigo, on the other hand, said there is a move at the Department of Social Welfare and Development to change the department's name to one that projects its new directions and possibly a new image. She complained that the name Department of Social Welfare and Development was strongly identified with disasters and relief giving. She revealed that there were times that the DSWD social workers were called Inday, which stands for indigents. Ligo said that they want the new name of the department to be identified with the family and the community. Hence, a committee has been organized to think of a new name. How about Department of Extended Families? Senator Boy Herrera the other week suggested that the Weather Bureau should stop using female names to code typhoons as the practice suggests bias against women. The practice is unpleasant and unwelcome, said the senator from Cebu, adding it might be based on the erroneous and decadent stereotyping of women as moody and whimsical and worse, unreliable and destructive. I understand the Weather Bureau has purchased the latest edition of Dictionary of Names, but a more sensible forecaster said it would be wiser to use gender-neutral appellations such as Charito, Rosario, Loreto, and Silito. Names are important, as my grandfather used to say. The best legacy is a good name. One movie star once told a Hollywood reporter, "You can write anything about me, honey, for as long as you spell my name right." Naming kids used to be easy task. Just look up the calendar and check the name of the saint in whose feast day the child was born. Several generations of Filipinos were named this way. This explains why there used to be plenty of Aguedas and Bartolomes in the neighborhood. There was a time when it was popular to add Maria to girl's name. It was not enough to name a girl simply as Lourdes or Carmen. She had to be named Maria. I have a niece who was baptized Maria Isabel and we called her Mais. Years later, parents decided Buenaventura was no longer appropriate for a newborn. So, they decided naming their kids after celebrities or political figures. In January this year, a flock of little angels were named John Paul when the Holy Father visited Manila. Parents are now more choosy about names. They have started to realize that the names gets to reflect the owner. That is difficult to undo an unflattering or unusual name. There was a girl who was christened Christmas, and there was never a day when she was not being greeted Merry Christmas by friends and acquaintances. I remember when people named after their physical characteristics or some outstanding trait. In the neighborhood, we had a Wanang, Bungisngis, and Wanang Makulit. You can tell whom people were referring to when they discussed about Pedrong Kirat and Pedrong Peklat. Where in the world can you find adults who respond to the nicknames like boy, girly, sunny, and baby? The winner must be Baby Boy, Poblador. There are also a lot of Junes, but why are their fathers not called Sans? Names can also be used as weapons. Some characters with gaulish humor named their pets after their bosses or personal enemies. Beware when people call you Brenda or Inday, but Daisy can be flattering. Do you sometimes have trouble remembering names? I do. But woe to the speaker who cannot start his speech without acknowledging the presence of every person on the stage. A former labor undersecretary was doing well, calling everyone's name when he looked at the next person and could not recall the guy's name. He kept looking at me and making motion to give him the name, but I pretended to look the other way. People can legally change their names. A Korean American whose last name was a simple O has difficulty with banks and employers. They thought O was a digit or an initial, so Mr. O had his name changed to O, then started having problems with the postal office. In the Filipino American community in the United States, a favorite joke is about Pinoys who want to westernize their names. A classic is the one about a guy named Casimiro Bukikosa who had his name changed to Kashmir Bouquet. Don't you think it's about time they put a stop to the practice of renaming streets? Changing names of thoroughfares is confusing and expensive. The proponents do not even exercise the basic courtesy of consulting the residents who live on those streets. Most streets have a history behind them, a sense of character, which the rest of the neighborhood or the city does not have. I don't care if the street is renamed after a councilor, a senator, or a smuggler. Just leave the street alone, unless the name is Coratong Balileng. I don't know of any spectacular name changing among Filipino, except about the illegal alien who took advantage of the amnesty law and had his name changed from Bokchoy to Dakilang Mamamayan. But noteworthy is the starlet who decided to leap out of anonymity by changing her name from something forgettable to Puki Moreno. Here is an example of a personality sketch feature. Playboy's Hefner at 70. Wearing black satin pajamas and red smoking jacket, Hugh Hefner strolled past a child's toy and a picture of his wife in the nude before sitting down in his mansion to talk about old age. The hedonist who founded Playboy magazine more than 40 years ago has recently turned 70. I've had a third act, he said. F. Scott Fitzgerald said there are no second acts in America. Lives and I've got Act 3 here and I'm very fortunate for it. I feel wonderful. With two young sons at his feet and 33-year-old wife by his side, Hefner looks more like a man in his 40s. 70 is the reality, but he does not see himself as an approaching the end of his extraordinary life. My mother is 100. We have very good genes. His birthday was a subdued affair, just a little gather of friends and family, he said. It was 1953 when Hefner fired some of the first shots of the sexual revolution when he founded Playboy, featuring a nude Marilyn Monroe. There were parallels in their lives, and she, too, would have been 70 this year. In both cases, the dreams were fed in our childhood by movies. I think sex and nudity had a similar kind of liberating meaning for both of us, said Hefner, who had purchased a craft for himself and wife, Kimberly, the 1989 Playmate of the Year adjacent to Monroe's. He is now focused on the next century, particularly electronic communication. Driving Hefner these days is the internet. We're very popular in the internet and we are going to be launching a pay site next spring or early summer. Perhaps surprisingly, the man who has fought for the First Amendment press freedom for 43 years believed parents should have a chip to block certain TV programs or internet features from children. Children are often used as the rationale or excuse for censorship. It's a phony claim because this society isn't made for children, it is made for adults and they should keep certain things out of reach of children, he said. Okay, so that would be all for today, and in our next video, we will read an example of a human interest story. So, um, the other video will provide, or we will read the human interest feature article story. So that's it. So I hope you enjoy um, reading samples of a feature article. So that would be all for today. Goodbye.